Well, this is a very complex concept, and I would say if you want to make it simple, you should first start by admitting that the rule of law is sort of a legal concept that has different connotations in different countries, societies. But I would say in general, the rule of law is an ensemble of practices, institutions, and legal rules.
So when I think about the rule of law, I think of a broader constellation of issues, namely, what is the role of law in organizing social relations and in resolving disputes among people, but also in grappling with the big social and political questions that we have to address as families, as individuals, and as societies. And the rule of law I think of as an umbrella term that encompasses a commitment to thinking about these in fair and systematic ways so that law and legal institutions work for everyone.
Well, I think the best way to describe the rule of law is it's an ecology. And so I use the term ecology because it means it is complex, it can be diverse, it involves many different institutions, practices, actors, cultures, rules, and norms. And the term ecology really reflects, I think, the complex and intricate relationship that takes place to sustain what we would call what is the rule of law. But it's a very general term.
So rule of law is not something which lends itself to a single definition. I think it depends a lot on the socio-political context of a country and a region. While it is true that there are certain universal international goals which are being pursued, what is important is to have a consensus on the overarching norms which a rule of law system is promoting. And sometimes those norms are not so obvious. There is political conversation, compromise on those. So rule of law without thinking through which norms you're trying to promote, to my mind, is meaningless. You can have rule of very, very despotic or coercive law. Surely that is not something which we want. So to my mind, the definition of rule of law would be something which promotes a pluralistic, tolerant, equal opportunity, egalitarian society, and which protects the vulnerable groups, which creates opportunities for people, which creates transparency and accountability in governance. And there can be multiple other factors. Once you have that kind of an ethos, of course, what you want is equal treatment under the law, due process of law, the protection of law for the legitimate activities which you want to do, punishment for things which are rightly deemed as crimes. Obviously, one wants to graduate from a lawless milieu to a lawful milieu, and obviously one wants the government through law rather than through men, as has been the case conventionally in despotisms.